Hello, and welcome to the Dogfight, a podcast dedicated to the London Spitfire and Overwatch League. Fasten your seatbelts and observe the no smoking sign, because today we'll be discussing United Lost's tie-in promotion for the Spitfire, the Spitfires, and maybe some other Week 1 match results, and then a quick peek at what is waiting for us on the horizon in Week 2. I am your handsome platypus host, Havokpus. I'm joined by Jordan and Wolf of Villainy. How's it going, guys?
Pretty good, honestly. I mean, we saw London finally play for the first week. Some really great stuff. Really hyped that Overwatch League is actually finally here. You know, we're all in.
Yes, it's finally here.
I'm just here to make snide comments and shit on people. Don't mind me.
Listen, one of us has to be positive here all the time. And that's
Living up to his name already. I like it. Well, thanks for joining me, you two. Let's get in and talk about our first topic because we probably have a lot to discuss. The first thing that I mentioned is that United lost. Yeah, United lost a YouTube channel, and I think Stylosa runs it or is associated with it. They cut a promo video for the London Spitfire. Stylosa was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be their British ambassador, and I'm gonna teach them about British things." And I think it was very interesting. Personally, I think it was a good move because, they gotta start learning all these British things. You gotta get them all British-ified for when they eventually move there. And it was a cute video. But what did you guys think of it?
Well, to give a little insight on Stylosa, his YouTube channel's Unit Lost. Right now, it's sitting at over 650,000 subscribers on YouTube. He has been known to make a lot of Overwatch videos for the past, I think, 2 years now. Basically going over everything from dissecting viewer submitted videos to the meta changes to just anything and everything involving Overwatch. So one thing about him is that he's very British, a very British man. So I'm guessing what happens at London was like, hey, you're very popular. How about you come join us, do some videos with us, do some tie-ins. So that way, one, not only do more British viewers, have a British person to watch. That's been a huge complaint because it's all a Korean team. And second of all, he's just really popular for casual Overwatch players. Not ones that are really into the competitive scene, but more just want to be better. Watch him anyways. So this is kind of a nice tie-in. Really smart on Spitfire's part to try to get him raked in. I think it's an official sponsorship too, so not just like a one-time promo video. So I'm guessing he's going to be doing more stuff with them in the future, especially when they eventually migrate their way over to the UK.
Yeah, he said that he has exclusive content lined up, and they're going to get exclusive interactions that probably some other people wouldn't get a chance to see. So it should be pretty cool. I like him. He's very happy. He's very he's very very positive and British.
He's very very British. It's like the main focus.
Very positive and very British.
It's very important. So yeah, I think it's a great move. I'm excited to see what he puts out. The video itself is just very cute. I recommend watching the video. Him trying to have them repeat back some British phrases. One being that rank doesn't matter is just kind of, it's a meme, but it's great, and I appreciate the entire team trying, cause they look super awkward.
They had really forced that one out. Yeah.
So I'm in with it. It's a smart marketing move. I can't wait to see what else they'll put out.
Admittedly, I actually never watched that at all. Even when it got announced over on Twitter, I was like, nope, I'm just pretending that didn't happen.
Oh, it's a cute video. You should watch it.
It is a little cringy.
I know, but my enemy was already halfway cringe to have the thought of Stylosa going, yeah, I'm a part of the Spitfire now.
I mean, it is an official sponsorship, so it's not like he's just forcing himself into the team.
No.
Like,
I understand. I understand the marketing move and
like,
such, and I do agree that it is a vital move, if only to appease people that are still like, why don't they get a European squad? Those sort of things, and it's doing fine and all, but I do have to like reserve myself a little bit, if only because like his presence is kind of an anathema to like the pro scene and such. It's kind of like, what? Why are you here, man? So I actually skipped that whole part.
I mean, I recommend watching it just for like, I know it's a little cringy. It feels a little cringy at times, but like it's also like kind of cute watching like London try. Because they're trying. Like, it's not like them being like, ugh, I don't want to do this. If they had, like, that personality of, like, ugh, I don't want to do this, get me out of here, it's going to be worse. But they're actually, like, kind of trying, so that gives you, like, a little bit of, like, aw, it's like a cute puppy. It's like, aw, okay.
They are contractually obligated to try, otherwise they would send back to Korea,
like do it.
In the fine print. Look, you're gonna look into this camera and you're gonna smile.
We're paying you.
And you're gonna like it.
Jack's gonna come after them.
You're gonna enjoy everything that England have to offer, and you're gonna have to like it. That include the weather, that include the bad tea, that include the...
We'll bench you if you don't smile at this camera. We don't care how
there was a really cute
and
part.
You have to enjoy the London Underground traffic too.
I don't know. I mean, it's like marketing, good, cringe, little bit. I want to see what else comes from it. I hope London kind of just really expands more into British stuff. It'll be kind of cool to see. I know fans really want to see them kind of dive into it more, so, it's not the worst thing they could have possibly done. I mean, and Stylus is tweeting about the games. He's bringing more people into watching the games, like this week, so...
Yeah, marketing is marketing.
Like, anyone else have any more comments, I guess, about him busting his way in?
Not really. I mean, it's kind of a small story.
It is. It's just kind of a cute thing. I guess we should probably dive into the, what everyone's kind of here to listen for, and what people kind of care about the most, which is the matches this week.
Indeed. So, the London Spitfire played against the Florida Mayhem and the Philadelphia Fusion last week. And what was really interesting is that they had one starting roster. They made no substitutions. They started Gesture, Fury, Birdring, Prophet, Nuss, and Bedosin. And I was certainly surprised, and we can talk about the individual matches later, but I wanted to get this point across now, since it'll probably take up a bulk of our time.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was very interesting that they decided to mix the rosters straight away.
Mm-hmm.
When they announced it, I felt that it was way too soon, considering you have two teams that played very differently, and to mix and match right away in the first game of the season felt a little dangerous,
I
guess.
got the groove once the first game kind of happened. I feel like they just needed that first game to be like, okay, this is what Florida's playing. Like, we need to play this way to counter how Florida's playing. Also, apparently, one of the other big surprises, there were no subs throughout the game. And apparently, the reason for that is the planning right now, how far in advance that a team needs to call out subs is very long. I think it's not even between breaks. I think it has to be even sooner than breaks. So that's something, I can't remember the exact time, but it's kind of like the sub rule. I think it's very weird right now.
It sounds weird.
It is.
I don't know why they wouldn't just do it in between maps.
Apparently it's not. Apparently you can't do it in between maps. It has to be like before
that. Makes no sense.
Sometime before. And that seems very odd. I hope that's something that changes, or they put out maybe a rule book or something for us viewers to be like, hey, yeah, this is when subs normally happen, just so we kind of know. Because stuff like that just kind of throws you for a loop sometimes. But yeah, I feel like the mixed roster for the first game was a ballsy move, being like, yeah, no, we're just gonna mix it up right away, see what happens, kind of.
Do you think they did that specifically to counter their opponents that they were facing? Because each team kind of plays the game in their own specific ways. So do you think that they started the people specifically?
This is gonna sound kind of rude, but I feel like I'm gonna preface. This is gonna sound kind of rude, not in London, but to Florida. I feel like they mixed it up first against Florida, slightly because they weren't intimidated by Florida. I feel like if it was against like Seoul, they would have kept, the split rosters completely fine. They would have done what they're comfortable with and gone with it. But I feel like since it was Florida and they can't sub anyways, they were like, we don't really care. They're kind of like the jokish team. We'll just throw our mixed one right now against them. I have a slight feeling they kind of did it for that reason. If it was like a bigger game, like maybe against Seoul or Dallas or something like that, they would have put a bit more,
I think the reason that they mix it now is just mainly because you have the luxury of actually like have it now in the first stage where the stake is not too high. You can still like do a little bit of experimentation and maybe treat the matches as somewhat of a glorified scrim, because you still have to fight everyone in your division like 4 more times, and then you still have to fight the other dude in the other division like 3 more times. So the amount of games is actually huge compared to like say Apex tournament where you only play like 3 matches for group stage, and then 2 to 4 matches in playoff in roughly about only 3 months. But Overwatch League season is like 40-60 game across like 6 months, and the playoff is like all the way down in June. So realistically, the sooner they mix up the roster, the better they are gonna be in the long run. So it's not, and like you mentioned earlier, Florida is not exactly what we call playoff contenders anyway. Not at their current state, at least, where they only have a full six, and they have stated that they want to save money and save money until like the mid-season signing, where they would determine, okay, here's what we need, and we're gonna sign like this people. So there's a bit of a leeway to try, obviously, and also like a lot of people are kind of like already in the moods of, oh, my team is already better than your team
Yeah,
because of
say
such.
that.
This is like the opening week, and each team only have like two games. It's like to say that Houston gonna flunk out of the playoff, or maybe like Shock is gonna be at the bottom
Yeah.
or something. It's probably a little bit too premature.
We'll talk about this
But
a little bit more
yeah.
when we talk about next week's matches, especially when it comes to Valiant and Dallas, who we're going to be playing against next week. But it's kind of, it's like, I'm kind of mixed up between, it's kind of weird that people are like, it's only the first week and everyone's already freaking out about certain teams, especially Dallas and Valiant. Because again, it's only been like 2 matches, and they're like, oh yeah, Dallas is just gonna suck now, forever. Or Valiant's now the best team of all time, because...
I mean, I can actually totally identify with that, because, so funny story,
Oh, no.
when the 2017 summer season of League of Legends started, Cloud9 went 0-2 for their first week, and the sub went mental. Everyone was like, we're gonna suck, this isn't gonna be our season, we're not gonna get into franchising, we're gonna just burn it all down, we're screwed. And it turned out fine. Thinking short term versus long term is very difficult, especially in stuff like this where...
And I mean,
it's...
as Wolf said before, the Apex tournaments were so different that, like, if a team was losing really badly, that pretty much did seal their fate for the rest of the tournament. And Overwatch League is so different that I feel like some people who have been following Overwatch competitively, that's kind of throwing them for a loop. Also, on the flip side, it makes me kind of happy that people are so hyped up about their teams either doing really well or really badly, because that means people are, like, watching and paying attention and are having a good time and rooting for teams, and that's something that Overwatch League needs. It needs that hype. And of course,
for sure.
when we get into the actual matches, well, I mean, the viewer peak was over 400K, so that's fantastic for first week.
It is a bit of a learning curve as well, because a lot of people are kind of like, oh my god, this amount of games, I'm not going to be able to watch all. But of course, the point of all these broadcasts is that you don't have to watch all. You only need to like watch the games that you like. But considering that we moved from a system that only have like 2 or 3 days tournament where you have to like watch every games, otherwise you wouldn't miss out. Otherwise you wouldn't be able to see any pro Overwatch games for like another month or so. It's obviously gonna be a learning process. So, and then obviously, and then like with like the game, with the season being this long and such, like there's bound to be teams that are taking like some games less seriously than the others. So right, so until like the playoff or the end of a stage or whatever is not very useful to say that, oh, this team gonna sucks. But I will say though that I have I have always been one of the people who criticize Jake, and I have repeated many times before that he is very inconsistent and overrated, and
Yeah.
World Cup did him no favor, even though he did well in World Cup, and now we come into like regular season, and apparently he is a flex DPS who can only play Junkrat. So outside of that,
it's
I'm
just
okay.
what's meta right now. He's just sticking to the meta.
Yeah, I mean that meta is just so important.
I mean-
and I mean we can, and then that can lead
His
us
hero
into,
pool is vast.
How actually,
I mean, yes, Junkrat is a good pick in this meta, but but like even in the game versus Fusion, he literally disappear whenever he play anything that's not involving some grenade. I'm just gonna put it out. Like he first played 76, and then he disappeared for like, I don't know, 3 minutes or something, and then came back with Junkrat, and he immediately makes some impact. While the other teams are just like playing their games, whatever, and then throughout the whole matches, he only switched off Junkrat during a few points, and those times he also kind of disappeared as well. So
Yeah,
I mean, the meta-
I mean,
I
you're
guess
not
yeah.
wrong.
I mean the meta is
But,
kind of a
let's-
huge thing, which can lead us into how we actually did against Florida and Philly.
Yeah,
not
yeah.
really
Let's move on.
Going into the match, I was actually kind of scared when we went against Florida because we had a really, really shaky start. Because that first map, man, I thought we were doing so well, and then Florida just stomped us. It just kind of rolled us on that first map, which was Dorado.
Yeah, I'm not even sure how to evaluate it. I think I can't even. I've already written it off as just like stage jitters, and that they were just too excited because like how they played on Dorado versus all the other maps they played over the week, they just couldn't move it past like the little arch. They couldn't get it. Yeah, they couldn't get it past that for a long time, and they just really struggled on defense to kind of hold them, and it was just weird because they just couldn't do anything.
No, it was just
on
kinda
that
like,
map.
Florida was just like, yeah, we'll just push it. Who cares? They were so offensively just strong, which is great on them. I mean, only having 6 players and no subs, they looked great. A lot better than a lot of people expected them to. I'll give them that. Just don't ever do it again in London. Do it to another team. I don't care. Just don't do it to us. Good job. Not against us. Get away.
I have a sneaking suspicion that like a lot of teams when they come to stage they either didn't get like warm up at all, or they only got warm up a little bit, because usually, like for example, like in my level of play, usually like before tournament you need to look around for like a warm up block where you get like everything greased, you got the comms up, you got the mechanics up, you got the team play down, and then you can maybe throw a couple of maps to make sure that everyone warms up and such. But with the way that like the Overwatch League kind of set up and they play, I maybe there isn't enough time for people to like getting that stuff sorted out, and they have to physically use the first map of an actual like real Overwatch League match in order to warm up. And that's why like there are some cases where Western team is able to like take maps off of Korean teams, usually on Junkertown. It's like it happens so routinely now. It's like if I'm seeing somebody take maps up like New York or Dynasty, New York Seoul, or London, I'm like okay, they play Junkertown, that's fine. Like
We won Junkertown.
That map
though.
doesn't
We broke
matter.
the curse.
Yeah.
And then of course when London was starting to lose, everyone's like, oh yeah, now it's a C9 curse. It's happening. And I, of course,
It's
yeah, I know the lore.
yeah.
I mean, of the lore.
Well,
I know
it's
the history.
Lord.
it's not even the lore. It's just that C9 Overwatch has always been kind of like a very snake bitten franchise, and even though like Jake kind of Jack C9 Jack like brought in like very stacked Korean roster and everything, I kind of have a sinking feeling that something might happen soon. And
Nah, we're fine.
having C9 in your first map. C9 in your first map, in your first match, in the inaugural season of Overwatch League, where
it
they
was
bring
all
out this whole
production.
roster. It's kind of like,
I will defend
you know.
that though, because
It was
he
planned.
couldn't do anything anyways. He popped out his blade, and even if he did touch point, he would have died. It maybe stalled for like maybe 0.5 seconds. There wasn't anything he could have done anyways. So I'll give him a little bit of leeway on that. But yeah, no. So Dorado, we lost. Wah, who cares? We don't want to talk about it. Luckily, we snapped back
Anubis,
pretty quick.
though.
Yeah, no, Anubis. That was oh god, that was such a great map. It was a great play, both sides. It was weird.
Yeah,
Like,
it was another close one.
It was a very close one. The defense wasn't very strong, I don't think, until the end, of course. But it was just like we were just dashing there and back. Luckily, we snapped back pretty quickly, and of course, we all know at this point that we won against Florida. No big shocker. Yay. But, yeah, no, Anubis was also a very great map.
I think my favorite map in this game was probably Oasis, because they showed a really good job of
oh, yeah.
like adapting to the to what Florida was doing, because I think they opened up with like a triple tank thing.
Yeah.
And they had this really great play where, like, I can't remember who was playing Zarya, but Zarya uses Grav, they get a bunch of kills there, and then Jester, who was playing Reinhardt, kind of sneaks up behind him and does this really great Earth Shatter, and then they get more picks there, and they're just fighting and brawling, and they're so tanky that it's stupid, and they're fighting, and it was really great.
Yeah, no, that was probably one of the best tank plays I saw, besides Dallas's quad tank, which that's something that is its own other league. But Oasis is also a great map. Probably, I think Anubis was my favorite map that we saw from them in Florida, just because it was very close. It was so close I didn't know exactly what was going to happen, which makes for great play. As much as I like seeing sweeps from other teams and that shows who's really the best, I like seeing games that are also close too, as much as it gives me heart attacks. Because it's more fun to watch in a way,
Sweeps are more fun for me because I get to yell and scream and make fun of the enemy team for being bad.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of interesting. I mean, I'm glad. It's really interesting to me to see how well Florida held up, even though they lost. They held up a lot better than I feel like anyone expected them to. In this map or this match. I don't remember how well they did. I think they lost every other one too. So I don't know what that means for them, but yet again, only first week. But overall, I think that was a good games.
It was a very
All
exciting opening. Yeah, let's move on to the Philly Fusion if we don't have any other talking points.
I'm done bashing Florida. I mean, I'm from Florida.
Yeah, same.
I'm allowed to bash them as much as I want. Who cares?
One thing that I was really interested about this this Philly match was that I was expecting them to put up a much bigger fight, because you look at their roster, it's incredibly stacked. They have Shadowburn, they have Carp A.
I'm trying to remember.
They have
at first.
Yeah, I can't remember either, but they have some pretty big names. And I was
in that particular day, like one of the things people kind of point out is that Philly was inserting Dayfly and Boombox.
Oh yeah, Dayfly. People were making fun of that.
Instead of I believe it was Neptuno and Boombox. I feel like Dayfly got a bit scapegoat, but then again, people do have to realize that it is the fusion like this as well. They could have been, considering that they have no preseason and everyone just kind of arrived at the US for like, I don't know, a week before this. And the coaching staff is not even like arrived fully just yet. So as far as Fusion goes, like obviously, like their match against Houston was a decent
Yeah.
surprise,
That was who they
but
played against, was Houston.
yeah, but to lose against London in the second match is it's kind of a non-issue to be honest. But then again, Reddit is Reddit for a reason.
See, the thing with Philly is that they have the players to be really, really good. Like, I don't know if they'll be, like, within top 4. I mean, maybe top 4 if they really play really well. But they definitely have the players. And they showed it just by popping up out of nowhere. I feel like they're not going to be an issue for us. I just feel like they're gonna do some interesting things in general. It was a clean sweep for us. And something I want to mention, at some point going through both of these teams, Florida and Philly, it's something that's been a huge complaint in general. So far, we already have complaints the first, week of league. What's new? The maps. They're the same. Or not exactly the same, but the pool of maps versus, like, what we could be playing on seems very small.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely a problem because if you're only using like half or a third of the total maps, it kind of feels like you're not really getting the full extent of the game.
Yeah, I mean, the most popular maps for sure are Anubis, Numbani, Ilios, Horizon, and, Dorado. Those are kind of the maps that people play on, or only play on. I don't think we've seen anything else. Like, Kings Row, we haven't seen that.
I could see them in this reasoning in that since it is sort of the first season of Overwatch, they wanted to give every team an equal footing. So maybe they looked at the maps and said, like, okay, what is the most balanced maps that we can pick, and then form a pool around that to make it fair and fun to watch. Like, they picked Junkertown because Junkertown has strategies that you don't see in any other map. So they have to pick that one, and then in the other ones, they pick them based on this is the best chance to give a team a 50-50 shot.
I mean, Junkertown and balance does not really come together, man.
I know. That's the outlier. That's the exception to the rule.
I was gonna ask because I don't remember this too well. Wolf, you might remember this more than I do. There were certain rules, especially with Apex, on how the maps were picked. I think it was something like whoever had the advantage or disadvantage got to pick the maps or something like that. I almost wish.
Well, the first map is randomly picked. It's always randomly picked, but that doesn't stop them from having like 3 fucking Lijiang tower in like a night or something. So I can't question on that part. But usually after that, it's just loser pick the maps from the pool, and then And then if like they end up like playing the same map type again, they would just remove the match that play earlier. So it was fairly standard as far as map goes. The thing about the way Overwatch League set up the current map is that you have to understand it in a few different ways. First, right now, even though Nate Nanzer keeps saying, "Oh, this is a player-driven team," you have to understand that like Overwatch League is still a way for Blizzard to showcase their games, and they want to have the maximum amount of exposure to all the map types, all the hero types, and how the games play, and etc. 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 So, having like 8 maps is a bit of a compromise between the competitive crowd who demand something like, say, a map draft, where they would want to have the control of which map to pick and which map to play, versus the business side that's going, oh, we need to be able to like play all these maps in order to PR our games and show that how bright and how colorful and how great our games are. It's kind of a compromise.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit on the more of the business side, because honestly, four map series kind of
I was gonna say on the
kind
flip
of
side of
nonsensical.
that, it almost kind of hurts it because it only shows certain maps and not all the maps. So if they're trying to showcase the game, they're also not showing the maps or the possibility of the maps. So I mean, if you don't already know that there's more maps than that, you might get kind of tired seeing these couple of maps and be like, oh, is that all there kind of is? That's like kind of the flip side of what you're saying. I get what you're saying, and it makes a lot of sense. especially for the business side. Totally get it. But it's also something that's like, I mean, I almost wish, and then they also do work the graphics of the map to integrate with their layout, which looks fantastic still, by the way, the entire setup. And I'm guessing the behind the scenes of that takes a lot of work. So to have to work on like random pick maps and to get the graphics looking right and all of that type of stuff and have the layout completely okay and ready and that short of a notice probably is also difficult for the people who work behind the scenes. I mean, it's kind of, it's a, you know, it's like a two-sided argument, you know? I get
Well,
why,
for
but-
corporate, you have for a corporation, they do want a profit and they want maximum amount of control. So all of
Fair.
the way that they're all they were doing is just their way of being able to exert that kind of influence into the game. Personally, from the way I see it, I do get the complaint about the maps, but some of it might also be stemmed from the fact that Horizon, Junkertown, aren't like maps that many people like competitively. Like people
Oh, yeah.
doesn't really like Junkertown at all because like, oh, here come Junkertown and here come Bastion. It's like
Here
you can hear the
comes
display.
Bastion.
He come Bastion and then oh, there's
Horizon's
double
such a weird
shield.
map. Horizon's so
It's-
weird to me still. This is a little, not off topic, it's just a little weird.
Ho-
Horizon's
yeah.
just weird.
Horizon-
Because it has like the entire zero
Yeah.
gravity part that no one uses.
Yeah.
And I think it's like one of the funniest things of how excited people were like, oh,
It's a
here's
fun feature
here's a
that you'll
zero-
never access.
I mean, I like using it when I play because I think it's fun to like sneak around, but at the same time, like, you never see in competitive play. Ever.
And also, you have on competitive side, like honestly, nobody would use that side of the map at all. Like because like, why would you want to go to the side of the map where A, the enemy can clearly see you from there, and B, you move twice as slow into the point. It's like, why would you? It's like they would. It's like even if the enemy spot you from like a corner, they would just like move up, and you have to fight in the chokes where they have speed advantages, and all you have is what, zero gravity, where they can just move you off of the map.
It's for
like,
the
it's a-
memes. It's for the
Yeah,
lulz.
it's
to make you look
It's-
quirky. It's something Dallas would do.
Dallas
Dallas
would
do it.
do
You know,
that
if Dallas,
in their
If
desperation.
Dallas did it, I would be
they
so
would do
happy.
that.
That's the thing. As much as like, I feel so badly for them, but I would have a good time watching a team use it. You know, if some team was like, you know what, F it, we're just gonna go and try it. You know, let's just go and see what happens. I would have a great time watching. I feel like all the viewers would also have a fun time watching. So I feel like there's like, that would just be fun. Even though they wouldn't win, it'd still be fun.
I mean, for the meme, sure,
the
but then
memes.
again, I probably have enough meme from seeing Diva getting staggered out and having to walk over there and then like
What?
endure a slow death. That probably fine on my boat.
I mean, like, we can be like Gesture, who is like the pilot of the London Spitfire entering the arena, like, you know, or Pine, who dabs on the haters.
Hey, Pine is great.
Pine, oh man, Pine has some great plays. But yeah, no, I feel like Overwatch League is so full of just like memes and things like that that it's pretty great. So yet again, Horizon, really weird map, zero gravity. Would love to see people use it. But back to the actual how we did against Philly. So yeah, we played Horizon, we played Junkertown against them, we played Ilios and New Bonnie. Of course, we won. They're all the same maps, so on and so forth. And I think
Yeah, there's not really even much to say
no, I
about
mean, we
the.
won. That's
I
it.
mean, we stomped them so much; it's
We
hard
won.
to really critique the play.
Come at us, Philly. That's how they do it in Philly. That's how we do it in London. Oh.
Smashing atoms.
That's so cringy. But yeah, no, I mean, as I said, I don't think Philly's gonna harm us. I think Philly's gonna be interesting down the line. I like some of their players. Like Shadowburn's super fun to watch. Even if he's like going
Yeah,
after
well,
us, he's fun to watch. Like,
Yeah, I
listen,
think
I'll
they can
always watch a
actually
good blade.
be-
I mean,
They can actually
maybe
be a playoff team
and I
if
mean
they
all the
play well.
fangirl, and I mean all the fangirls who probably like their guy like Cool and Silence and not even emote. They probably would want some piece of that Russian ass too. I imagine. It's like he is completely like face frozen. Oh, you die first in the team fight, completely frozen. Oh, you just kill 5 people in the overtime and then win Phillies the map and face just frozen as well. I don't know. Maybe it must be a Russian thing.
Maybe so. So,
Maybe.
do we have anything else to talk about when it comes to Philly other than the magnificent shadow?
I can't.
I don't. I mean, I could probably express my love for Fraggy and his beard, but
That's
that
fair.
probably run. That probably would make us run out of time really fast.
I mean, honestly, didn't he just get placements? He's like #1 in Korea and in NA. It's just, I'm not even gonna talk about it. It's nuts. Great players. Don't care about the team though. I'll watch them any day. But yeah. So that's how we did this week. We won both matches. We're undefeated so far. That's pretty nice, even though it's only the first week, so it technically doesn't matter.
Well,
it matters to Reddit.
It
Goddammit.
matters to me. You know what? It matters to me. And then next week, starting on Friday, actually, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so aka my time, we're going against Dallas Fuel, which is my other love team that, I mean, it's just because they're memes, and I love just the entire team structure.
Well, Jordan, you can probably help us dissect them a bit because it seems that they have been running out of gas.
It's okay.
They have had a poor week 1 showing.
Yeah, no, because
I've everyone is up in arms.
It hurts my heart because besides London, Dallas is like my other team that I'm like 100% rooting for. I'm from Dallas, and I love Envious. So kind of what's been going on. Dallas has been doing a lot worse than what people expected because they did really well during the preseason. They've done really well in the past. Envious team. Of course, they've added some new players. XQC, Seagull. They added Custa. You know, whatever. They add new players. Running out of gas, I don't think is the right term for what's going on with Dallas. Actually, what occurred recently after they lost to Valiant, which was a huge upset. Or I don't know if a huge upset's not the right word, because Valiant's also a great team. We're going to be playing against them also, and we'll talk about them in a bit. It's still, a lot of people are rooting for Dallas, because Dallas, I think, has the largest fan base, I would probably say, hands down, besides Seoul. Just because Envious is such a popular team. What I've been noticing, and what's been kind of revealed by Effect, actually, during one of his streams, is that the problem is with coordination and communication. There's not a dedicated shot caller. A lot of it is, they're all good players, but no one's really taking the lead, being like, yeah, we're gonna go against this person, or we gotta go this way. There's not like a dedicated shot caller. And the problem with that is Effect, one, he is a very talented player, and he's totally has the ability to lead the team. But then you have personalities like Seagull, who's really popular, who, you know, Custa, who's very vocal on comms, and XQC, who's been very known to be very vocal on comms, who all probably want to lead. At least if Effect and XQC for sure who want to lead. But when you have two people who want to lead at the same time, you're gonna have problems. And a lot of this falls on Kai, actually, the coach, at least in my opinion. Because this is something that they should have stomped out, you know? This should have been something that he saw and should have been like, okay, Effect, I want you to be a shot caller. We're gonna practice you being shot caller, and that's it. And that, you know, so I think running out gas isn't the right term. It's more of like just not coordinate, or not, there's no coordination.
To be perfectly honest, I wrote that line because I thought it sounded really clever.
No, I know. I'm just like, it is clever. A lot of people have also been saying that too. That like, oh, Dallas is gonna take. Oh, they're overhyped. Overhyped potentially, but they're still a good team. I just think this is like a hurdle that if they don't get over this hurdle, they'll never get anywhere near top 4 that people are expecting them to. It's a huge problem. It's not even just that their players aren't playing well. It's like that's a huge problem.
I think I personally think like putting the blame on Kai is a little bit premature per se, because obviously like right now Coco is not in the starting lineup because he have been sick, so they are not playing in the same kind of setup that they have been playing since Apex season 4. And then obviously having like XQC and Seagull playing in it also introduced like a new dynamic to the team
Mhm.
that might or might not be that might or might not be conductive to the team playstyle as a whole. From the way I see it, usually Dallas, a lot of people say like Taimu shot call a lot, but what I think happened is that like Dallas playstyle is usually what is like a very loose and reactive playstyle where the team don't where there isn't any like structure in a sense that there isn't anyone like okay we're gonna do this we're gonna do this. Nobody is like doing the strict in terms of like calling strat in terms of calling like where to go in terms of what to do. It's usually usually they play very loose and they just take things as they come to them. And in the past, it had been like one of the best strength because they are able to like see how usually they feel out the opposing team, and then after that, once like they're able to adapt to it, they would be able to react very well and react very well to what the other team throw at them. And then also for the fact that usually they have the mechanical skill advantages over them as well. But like you said, what introducing like XQC and ever, there might be stuff that need to be worked out,
Mhm.
and I don't believe with people going back for Christmas and then coming back into the league like a week before play. It's not isn't there isn't gonna be have enough time to play. Like I mean, I could only imagine Mickey went from playing with somebody who's very reserved, like say Coco, and then
Yeah.
suddenly you have to play with a mad berserker that is like
I
XQC.
feel so bad
That's
for
yeah.
Mickey. Actually, he's like, I
He's
love.
so nice.
I know he's like, he's probably my favorite player in the league, or one of my at least top three, just because of how like happy and
Even
positive he
better
is his
than
gameplay.
Fisher, the most handsomest boy.
But anyway, he's you know like you can't be upset. You got Mickey. He's just a happy ray of sunshine, and I feel like he really helps make Dallas stand out for reasons like that. But yeah, I think the only reason I mean I know blaming Kai is such like like it's the coach, yada yada yada. I mean, this is just based off of what Effect said. Even actually, I think it was either today or yesterday. Even XQC commented based off what Effect said, and it was great. Basically, XQC at the summary, he was like, he felt badly. He's like, I know I'm a problem. I want to make it better. Apparently, Effect has like tagged both XQC and Coco in Discord and was like, listen, we're gonna duo queue together to work on communication. So Effect is clearly trying to step up that leadership role to make that change happen, which is very much what Effect does. Effect is the type of person that plays beyond what is expected and steps forward, and if there's something wrong, he's going to fix it or try to. In XQC, kind of acknowledging that this is a problem, and wanting to fix it and feeling badly, it kind of shows for his character, because a lot of people know XQC as being, a toxic loudmouth who is kind of nuts. And I mean, the whole team kind of thinks he's nuts too, I have a feeling. But stuff like that kind of shows that there's like the other flip side, that he's trying, that there's like.
Well, you kind of have to be a little bit nuts in order to like having like a 2 hours warm up every day, or just playing rank, even though like people are just like Q snapping a little bit. So there's certainly a degree of insanity involved with everyone else.
I mean,
But
the only thing with Effect, but this is just something I feel sometimes. Sometimes I feel like Effect, not like he doesn't want to be on Dallas, but he wants to be on a Korean team, and that's just a vibe I get from sometimes. But anyways, so how is this all going to affect our gameplay? The whole Dallas fiasco that's been going on. I think that Dallas is going to bring a really good game, like they've done to other teams. Like, because we saw how they did against Seoul, which was one of the best games so far in the entire league. I feel like they're going to bring the same type of really close gameplay. I still think we'll win. London will win. But
Yeah, I think London will take advantage of
the chaos.
Dallas Fuel's lack of focus
Yeah.
right now, as well as I think I've read that some people have said that the fuel isn't that good against dive stuff, and they have trouble with that. So I think maybe we'll play dive a little bit more to try to mess with them. But I think that our strategy and communication is probably a little greater than theirs.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be close probably, like you said, but I think that London will probably squeak it out with their superior
Maybe
things.
Dallas will pull out the quadruple, or not even that. They'll pull out like 5 tanks. They had 4 tanks last time.
5 tanks.
Add another tank. Let's go. I'm in. Is there 5 tanks? I don't even remember.
I believe so.
Yeah, no, the 4 quad tank thing was amazing. I loved it. It was so silly.
It is an actual strat.
I know it's a
in
strat.
TCP,
It's something so out of left. Like, what other team you're gonna see do it? I don't think any other team would be that ballsy to just do it. I feel like Dallas is like the team's like, okay, yeah, sure, why not? And which is a reason why I like them, because they'll do it.
Well, they are very known for their off-meta picks as well.
Yeah.
I remember at one point during Apex where they thought that one of the way they could contain the other team's Genji Ace, who is Arhan in AF Blue, was to run a Symmetra, which obviously failed right off of the bat. So there's that. But but obviously points for trying, I guess. Even though sometimes like it put them in a back foot right off of the start.
Yeah, no. So yeah, that's my prediction. I think it's gonna be a close game. I probably am gonna say I don't know, like what was it with Seoul? I feel like it'll be the same score, honestly.
Seoul was 2-1 to Seoul.
Yeah, wasn't it like 2-1 with Seoul winning? I feel like it's gonna be the same thing. Yeah, I think that's gonna be the same thing. Which, of course, I'm happy because I want London to win, but I'm also kind of sad because I want Dallas to get a win. I want them to get a win. They will this week against someone. It won't be us, but someone. I'm gonna, I'll root for London in this game, but next Dallas game, I'll toss them.
I want Dallas to lose a couple more so that I can enjoy some more like Reddit tears. Like my like the closest team that I probably could say that I root for is probably Fusion, and then I'm very loosely root for because I have a strict policy of
like that Shadowburn
agnostic.
Shadowburn love train.
Well, more like Fraggy love train, I guess,
Fraggy
but
too.
yeah.
The love trains, you gotta. I don't think you can hate them. You just can't. But, anyways, yep, that's my prediction. Anyone else have anything else to say? I guess when it comes to this game.
No, I think we should move on to talk about Valiant. We're running out of time.
The other undefeated team, or one of the other. I think the only undefeated teams so far are it's us, it's Valiant, and
I think New York is also undefeated in
Seoul.
Seoul and New York.
Yeah, actually the official standings, which have been out now for the league, Valiant is in first, which I don't get how the standings work if so many teams are undefeated. I don't really know how that works.
I thought it was going alphabetically.
I guess. Because technically it says Valiant is in first place, and then we're in second place, even though we both have won 2 games and lost none.
I think it's map score as well.
Maybe.
Like, I think Valiant didn't like drop any map at all.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they didn't drop any maps. That's right, they didn't. So yeah, we go against Valiant. I also think this is going to be a great game. I like Valiant too. I don't love them as much as London or Dallas. But I like them, mostly because I like Rogue. No, I like Rogue. Anything with Rogue, I'm in. You know what? I like Rogue. So, give me 2 of them, I'll take it. AKM's gonna join them eventually, we all know it. Like, we all know it. Mid-season comes up there, he's gonna join them. If he doesn't,
I mean, you could drive to his house and demand vodka to make him sign to.
Yes, I will. I love Rogue.
To LA, I guess.
I love Rogue so much. It breaks my heart they aren't together, but whatever. I love them so. Anyways, it'll be a good game.
Yeah, I think that this map will really test the London Spitfire to see how well they do, because this will probably be this, and probably to a lesser extent maybe Fuel, but this week will definitely test to see how they can hang against the more higher rated teams.
Yes, that's. I
And
mean, for sure.
I think LA Valiant is like
they have
okay,
such a good DPS line, which I think
Yes.
is part of the
Yes.
issue.
their first week matchup was first against Shock and then against Dallas. Like okay, Dallas was a good. No, not Dallas. What am I saying? Phil. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like sure, like the win versus Phil was good, but the win versus Shock is kind of like
Yeah, I mean, I understand.
it's kind of like so. I would like in terms of matchup wise, I would probably still give the advantages to London,
Mhm.
if only because like their lineup is more experienced. And LA Valiant and in LA Valiant like the only few person that is like LAN experience is gonna be Soon Uncles and Fate and Envy, and then there's Silk Thread who's still very like
Who's very new.
inexperienced and such.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'll give it to Silk Thread. He's been doing fantastic. You know, literally fantastic. I love watching him play. I mean, I just like good Genji plays in general. That's my thing. I like good Genji plays. I like good plays in general, but good Genji plays to just top it off for me. But
I like it. I like agilities.
yeah, agilities too. So yeah,
He have it. So Thread have been playing rather well for someone who's still
Who
who's
just
still
jo- who just
technically
joined,
like
you
new.
know?
Yeah.
because he just turned of age
It-
not too long ago, right? Didn't he just turn of age?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, he turned up like a while ago,
Was it a
but he
while?
was like one. Yeah.
okay, I don't think
Like
he's
he's
on-
still 18. He's still 18. He
Oh,
literally
okay,
like
so-
he literally come into like medical school and then just drop out because fuck medical school when you
Do it for the
when you can
video
play
games,
Overwatch.
Man. You can go back to school.
Yeah.
You can go back to school. You gotta play the Overwatch. You gotta chase that dream. We don't need any more doctors.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Lol. Well, as far as LA Valiant go, it's gonna be a test to see how well they are going to going up against Spitfire, and I mean soon. I mean the rest of them that have experienced Silk Thread is gonna be interesting. Although the inclusion of Silk Thread kind of make me wonder where the hell is Grim Reality is. He's kind of a personal non grata for like the last weeks or so, which I found it rather troubling. Like personally, I've Grim Reality, I found it to be a bit of an overrated player. But the fact that LA Valiant like brought on like Silk Thread, it seems to me that they are kind of like halfway given up on Grim.
There's a
Even yeah.
what was the other team? Houston kind of also has that problem. With Mendo, who I like a lot too. That's kind of the problem. I think LA and Houston have the same problem with that. They have so many good DPS, or not DPS, or just offense characters in general, that some of their other players they just aren't being played. They don't have to have them. Mendo's one of them. Grim is another one. And I feel like they might sub Grim in if need be, but I still don't think Grim's gonna start. I don't think so.
I mean, Mendo is a weird case because Mendo, like Grim, have been also disappear.
Yeah. Mendo
Have
hasn't played
been
at
also
all.
disappear.
I don't think.
Yeah.
No, he's played
And
once
also-
during the
yeah.
preseason, I think, and that's it.
Yeah, and also like during one interview, Flame that talk about how like different DPS is gonna like have different niche, different role in the team, and then he's subbing in Clockwork for card math, and then proceed to just do nothing, which brought a lot of scorn toward Flame and Clockwork, I guess. But as far as Houston goes, I think it's more the matters of like personnel decision because they are not quite sure where did Mendo fit in, because okay, you have Linkser, who is a super all-around flex, he can play anything. You have Junkrat, who's technically is also a super flex, but he apparently can only play Junkrat. Question mark. And then you have Clockwork, who's supposedly this anti-tracer specialist, but always lose Tracer 1v1 versus the best Tracer in the league. And then you have Mendo, who seems to like the sore thumb because like he is also one of those very good flex guy, but he doesn't have a niche. Even back to his C9 day, he isn't like, oh, this guy is very good at hit scan, this guy is very good at projectile, this guy isn't very as good at such. He just kind of like, oh, I'll play everything, So I'm not quite sure what Houston is planning with their personnel. maybe there was a little bit of nepotism involved, maybe, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really
Yeah.
know about Houston. We aren't playing them just yet, so we'll see when we actually do play against them. But with it'll be interesting to see what Valiant wants to pull out for their first games against us, and if they are going to choose to sub out. So as far as score for, or even just kind of how we think we're going to do, I mean, I think we all kind of agree that we are probably going to win. How much do you think it's going to be a sweep? Do you think it's going to be close? Really close? I think it's going to be moderately close. I don't think it's going to be as close as, like, I don't think it's going to be, like, 1 point away. I feel like it'll be decently close, though,
Yeah,
I think it's
it'll be close
either.
as well.
I think it's gonna be either a 3-2 towards Spitfire, or a 3-0 or a 3-1.
Yeah.
Valiant is probably gonna put up a fight, but I don't expect them to take more than 2 maps.
I agree.
Like if they take like 2 maps, they're already like, I think, already in a much better place compared to others.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But yeah.
I'll be interested to see for sure. It's probably going to be one of the best games this week. I don't remember who else is playing this coming week, but
I mean, there's a car crash that is Shanghai versus Florida. And
oh yeah, that's gonna be a really fun game. I'll probably watch just to see the commentators and them trying to make that game interesting.
I love those. I love those race to the bottom games.
Yeah, they'll probably be like, oh yeah, they're Shanghai, they're doing something. Poor Shanghai. They're just getting beaten up all over the place. But yeah, no, it's probably definitely gonna be one of the most or more interesting matches this week. I'm looking now at like all the matches this week. There's also Fuel in Houston. That'll be probably the top one this week.
I just want Houston to get beat, even though I'm living in Houston right now.
Nah, Houston's done. Listen, as a Dallas fan, I like Houston's roster, but they can't win. Anyways, back to London before I get way too off topic with that again. I just think it's gonna be close. I'm excited to see it. I know it's gonna be the same maps, even though I wish it'll be I want it to be a different map, but it won't be. That's gonna make me sad inside. And I think London will be able to do well, even though the DPS for LA is great. I feel like we'll do something.
Yeah, I think as long as they figure out a way to shut down LA's DPS, I think we should be okay. They do have some good tanks as well, but I think LA's main strength and their main focus has been through DPS. So if you stop Agilities from going off on Genji, or if you stop Soon from doing whatever he does, we shouldn't be too bad. But it'll probably be difficult.
I think London does have the personnel to actually get a specific game plan in order to contain those two. So it's gonna be interesting to see how Fate and Envy going to be hold up against the 4-class tank line that is Gesture and Fisher and such. So it would be definitely interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah. I think that's it for that. I guess the only other thing we could talk about, which is not really that much, because it's kind of it. The skins are finally out in the game that happened earlier this week. I don't remember whether or not that happened before the last podcast or not. But
I think it happened sometime around the second one.
Yeah. But yeah, skins.
I don't think we have any time to talk about it though.
We don't have a lot of time, but you can just say you can get the skins. You can buy the Spitfire ones. I got my Tracer one. So that's just something I want to throw out there. I'm happy I finally got my Tracer skin. So, anyways, so yeah, I guess that's it. Because I know we're running out of time.
Yeah. Thank you, too, for coming on. It was great to have you. And thanks for everyone out there who's listening. But it's time to come in for a landing. So please put your tray table up and return your seats to their full upright positions because we're coming in. So thank you for listening to our podcast, and we hope to see you in the skies real soon. Thank you. And goodbye.
See ya.